session of mine where we would be deliberating upon understanding self. Now, when we talk about understanding self, dear friends, though the topic itself is so worded it into very small alphabets, but it has got a lot of meaning. So before I begin, I would request all my dear educators to be ready with BPR, that is with their pen paper readiness should be there, as there is going to be a lot of interactive session. बहुत सारा हम interaction करेंगे, and along with that we'll be having a quiz at the end. But let me start with the learning objectives of my session. Now, whenever we are talking about learning objectives, that what are we supposed to learn? What are we supposed to know? So here we are talking about understanding self, apne aap ko samajhna, and to know the importance of knowing self. You know, what is the importance of knowing oneself and the significance of developing a positive sense of self among our children. I'm sure, dear educators, I'm clear with you all. That's the significance of developing a positive sense, which is the basic, base or the root for the overall integrated and holistic development of children. I hope you all agree with me. And during this session, we would be able to understand the characteristics of self during infancy, childhood, and adolescence, because I'm sure when you are dealing with children with middle childhood years, so you are coming in contact with children, you know, look with their past, and of course how you're going to prepare them for their future endeavors. We are going to have a small glance at the Erickson stages of personality development for better understanding. And then what are the principles? Because the objective main here is that how am I going to build upon my methodologies so that children are benefited the most. The entire objective of this session is that we have to empower our children and children of 21st century. I hope you all would agree with me, and strategies to connect with children for better understanding. Now, this self understanding, I have tried to correlate it with the new education policy vision, which talks about skill India, which talks about, you know, entrepreneurship, और जो हमें कहता है कि आत्मनिर्भर भारत की ओर लेकर जाएं. तो इसी सेशन के साथ हम आगे की तरफ बढ़ते हैं, और यहाँ पर हम बात कर रहे हैं हमारा फ्लो कैसे जाएगा about this teachers training program. We'll have once we go through the objectives of the lesson, we understand there will be a lot of discussions, what a lot of brainstorming into it. I would request all my dear educators that they should be absolutely making note of all the points and whatever questions which come to their mind, because here we are on the platform where we would be learning from each other by collaborating through coordination and by experiential learning, where we are sharing our experiences for the strengthened classrooms, be it during pandemic or post pandemic. So moving on to the basic concepts, because when we talk about self, generally हम कहते हैं कि self is your sense of who you are. हम क्या हैं, you know, and what we think about ourselves, like and then what are my characteristics, what are the characteristics of the children, you know, whether they are good at particular skill, they are good at creativity, they are good at visual performing arts, they are good at culinary skills. So what is your goal, aims, and objective? All these pointers which I'm showing here, they are very essential, dear friends, to understand that how they play an important role when we developing a self. So how do you see yourself and perceive? And at the same time, we must keep it in mind at the back drop that we have children who are coming to us from the different strata of society. We don't know what emotional baggages, what cognitive baggages they are carrying, but they are with us. So, moving on to the next, when we talk about understanding self, it must be make very clear to our children. हमें अपने बच्चों को ये बताने की बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है, क्योंकि इस समय जो need of the hour है, it's not just giving them the basic concepts. The need of the hour is to develop thinkers, जहाँ हम उनको उनको पूरा एक फ्रीडम दें, उनको सोचने का, उनको अपने आप को एक्सप्रेस करने का। तो जब मैं ये बात कहती हूँ आप सबसे कि ईच वन ऑफ अस इज अ यूनिक पर्सन, different from all others, or definitely. So here we need to accept and respect that we all are different. I was just listening to the previous session, and there we agreed that all of us are different from each other, and the beauty lies that we need to accept and believe in our own uniqueness. And that's how the concept of the self starts building up. Now, related to the concept of the self are the two more concepts, like when we are talking about identity and when I'm talking about personality. Now, aspects of self, when we are dealing with aspects of a self, who's a child who's coming to you, apart from his or her physical descriptions, feelings, emotions, his or her mental abilities, the roles which we perform, and whatever his relationships are there, when it comes to his or her social self, then potential, उस बच्चे की क्या क्या उसके अंदर खूबियां हैं और कैसे उसको हम एक स्किल के रूप में डेवलप कर सकते हैं, फ्रॉम स्किल टू कॉम्पिटेंसी, एंड हाउ इट विल हेल्प अ चाइल्ड in developing a better understanding of a self. So, जब हम broadly बात करते हैं तो हम कहते हैं कि we can divide it into two parts, self को personal as well as social. तो यहाँ पर एक मैंने आपको एक इमेज में दिखा रही हूँ जिसमें हम कहते हैं कि unlocking the secrets of self awareness. सेल्फ अवेयरनेस, जहां मुझे ये पता होना चाहिए कि मेरे क्या स्ट्रेंथ्स हैं, मेरी क्या वीकनेसेस हैं, मेरे क्या मुझे अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिली हुई हैं और क्या मेरे थ्रेट्स हैं. डियर एजुकेटर्स, बिलीव मी, हियर द रोल ऑफ अ टीचर कम्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. वी आर जस्ट द फैसिलिटेटर्स, जहां हमको उनको एक डायरेक्शन देना है, वेयर वी नीड टू गिव देम अ डायरेक्शन एंड वी हैव टू शो अ रोड मैप अहेड, depending upon tapping upon their potential, their interests, and in case if they are going through any trauma or any bad experiences, understanding them. We need to develop a trust among our children. Now, when we talk about self, as I had already told, that it's talking about person's experiences. उस बच्चे के क्या पास्ट एक्सपीरियंसेस रहे जब वो आपकी क्लास में आया, उसकी घर के क्या सर्कमस्टांसेस हैं, उसकी कॉग्निटिव मेंटल एबिलिटीज क्या हैं, तो ये सारा मिलाकर एक जो बिलीफ जो वो होल्ड करता है अबाउट इट्स हर सेल्फ और हिमसेल्फ, इट्स बेसिकली टॉकिंग अबाउट सेल्फ. एंड नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन कम्स दैट हाउ कैन आई ब्रिंग पॉजिटिव मीनिंग among my children. So here you can see an image. I think you can use the chat box, which is talking about, is it talking about the positive self or negative self? You can write down in the chat box because chat box is open and I can see the answers, that who am I? How am I feeling? Am I feeling fully alive? Or am I feeling, bully? Am I being bullied down? Or am I courageous? Am I able to compete with others with a positive environment, and so on? And then, am I safe? Am I digitally safe? Am I safe physically? Am I away from abuse, or so on? So next, I'm moving on. How to work on your positive self. Now, when we talk about positive self, and especially with our children, it becomes very important that we must show them ways, that what are the different ways through which they can bring out their positive self on the surface and can nurture it, can groom themselves to become a very healthy, robust citizen of this country. तो यहाँ हम उनको कहते हैं कि आप अपनी एक डायरी बनाइए या आप एक अपना जर्नल बनाइए जिसमें आप अपने बारे में लिखिए। आप अपने आप के लिए अपने लिए क्या सोचते हैं? हू एम आई? आप आपके क्या एक्सपीरियंसेस रहे और आपने उन एक्सपीरियंसेस से क्या लर्न किया? So something like that, dear educators, we can build up certain activities based upon it, and then we are talking to them. Write down the events that have affected you, because whatever we are learning through the various training programs, ultimately, if you when you filter it, we understand that the basic core is knowing oneself, no matter whatever the experiences are, no matter how the journey had been for a child, it is very important that the child must, note it down and must share with the teacher if there is no one at home, with whom he or she can share. Then it comes that analyze negative experiences, because life is not a journey or it's not a bed of roses for anyone. And forget, when we talk about our children, they are so innocent, and at times they really don't know that what's happening to them. So to keep them away from the various neglects, abuses, it becomes very essential for us that we must teach them, we must show them that okay, this was a negative experience, what you have learned, now let it go and move ahead. Okay, so next we come to the point where we are talking about embrace your uniqueness. Here we are asking the children to know or to write down their positivities. I would request all my dear educators to please put down on in the chat box that what are their uniqueness as an educator, because we understand that we all are teachers. That is a common wave which goes among us. We are very playing a very important role in the building of the nation, we understand that. But how we are different from each other, how we as ourselves are different from each other, and accept and respect that we all are different. So, moving on to my next point, where I'm sharing with you that positive me. Now, positive me, when I say that, okay, it should be related to your overall wellness regime, wellness, timetable. But how do I create positive me? This is very, very essential, because somewhere, dear friends, we are making a mark on the child's mind, and they look up to us. वो हमारी तरफ देखते हैं कि हमें क्या उनको एक सिर्फ दिशा दिखाने की ज़रूरत है। और यहाँ पर हम बात करते हैं पॉज़िटिव में, जहाँ पे हम उन्हें कहते हैं स्टार्ट टेकिंग रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी। आज जैसे हम अपने अभी आपके प्रीवियस सेशन में बात हो रही थी कि एक बड़ी सिस्टम डेवलप होना चाहिए। तो जो भी हम कार्य कर रहे हैं, जो भी बच्चा एक प्रोजेक्ट कर रहा है या जो भी आपने उसको ड्यूटी असाइन की है, वहाँ पर इट बिकम्स वेरी एसेंशियल दैट द चाइल्ड मस्ट नो दैट ही और शी इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर हिज और हर एक्शंस। आगे हम बात करते हैं। Very good. I can see that some of you, Monica ma'am is writing that being a teacher, I'm very polite with students. I always make time to listen to my students. This is a wonderful quality, because listening to them. Here I'm coming to the point. And the moment we give them a responsibility, we make them responsible, we involve them, they start taking interest. They start taking interest, they overcome their various emotional barriers. वो अपने इमोशनल बैरियर्स, चाहे वो कुछ भी सर्कमस्टांसेस के कारण रहे हों या उनकी अपनी इंट्रोवर्ट पर्सनालिटी के कारण रहे हों, they start overcoming those barriers. Now, having a set of beliefs and judgments. Now, जब भी हम belief की बात करते हैं या judgments की बात करते हैं, as a teacher, yes, we all are non-judgmentals. हमें बच्चों को लेकर एक judgment नहीं देनी चाहिए कि just based upon certain experiences. Now, they can only develop when they have certain belief system. And as a teacher, we need to help them in building up that belief system. Now, the moment I say manage your world, it doesn't mean that whatever you are doing, you can go ahead with that. मैनेज योर वर्ल्ड में जब हम बात करते हैं तो हम उन्हें कहते हैं कि आप अपनी दिनचर्या को कैसे मैनेज करते हैं, आप अपने रिलेशंस को कैसे मैनेज करते हैं, आप अपने पीयर ग्रुप को कैसे मैनेज करते हैं, आप अपना स्क्रीन टाइम कितना मैनेज करते हैं, या आपका मोबाइल फ़ोन पर आप अपने आप को कैसे मैनेज करते हैं? आर यू वर्किंग सेफली ऑन द इलेक्ट्रॉनिक गैजेट्स, और आर यू सेफ ऑन द सोशल मीडिया? सो यहाँ पर मैनेज योर वर्ल्ड पर जब हम कहते हैं तो हम उनको सबसे पहले उनकी सेफ्टी एंड सिक्योरिटी गाइडलाइंस की बात करते हैं उनके साथ। फिर हम उन्हें बताते हैं कि भई आपने अगर आपका एक स्कूल में आपका एक अगर रेगुलर टाइम टेबल है, आपने अपने सब्जेक्ट्स को कैसे माइंड मैप्स बनाकर, कैसे कंटेंट मैप्स बनाकर आपको उनको समझना है, जो कि इन अ लॉन्गर रन आपको हेल्प करेंगे अपने आप को समझने में। So manage your world, make a timetable because that's very essential because number of times ये देखा गया है कि हम बच्चों को बोल देते हैं और ये सोचते हैं कि शायद वो कर लेते हैं। तो यहाँ पर डियर फ्रेंड्स ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है कि हम उसको फॉलो अप करें। यहाँ पर एक मैम कहते हैं कि आई गिव लॉट ऑफ एग्जांपल्स फ्रॉम देयर डेली लाइफ व्हिच इज वेरी एसेंशियल रियल लाइफ एजुकेशन as this session will unfold, dear friends will understand, you will find out that how motivation then हमारी जो day to day real life education experiences that they make lot of difference, they make lot of impact on our students mind. Then be flexible but firm. यहाँ पर जब हम बात करते हैं फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी और फर्मनेस की, हम जानते हैं कि चिल्ड्रन आर चिल्ड्रन, दे विल मेक मिस्टेक्स, they will have problems. I mean, straight away, we shall not try to, judge them from an adult's point of view. At the same time, अगर बच्चे कुछ indiscipline issues show कर रहे हैं या बच्चे अपनी एक negative direction की तरफ जा रहे हैं, वहाँ पर हमें firmness की बहुत ज़रूरत है। जहाँ पर हम उन्हें एक firm, अगर if I say no, that means no. Flexibility in terms of giving submission work, in terms of doing work, can be given to an extent, right? And seek out creativity. Because creativity is the basic lifeline for the child's imagination for developing a positive self. और क्रिएटिविटी मुझे डियर फ्रेंड्स जब हम बात करते हैं क्रिएटिविटी, आप देखिए एमएचआरडी के कितने सर्कुलर्स हैं, डीओई के कितने सर्कुलर्स हैं विच आर टॉकिंग अबाउट आर्ट इंटीग्रेशन, which are talking loudly about inclusion of visual and performing arts, जिसमें उन्होंने culinary art भी एक बहुत important aspect के रूप में भेजा है। So being domestic science teachers, क्यों ना हम उसी culinary art को जो कि उनमें patience, एक understanding और एक confidence develop करे, क्यों ना हम उन बच्चों को एक अगले step की तरफ लेके जाएं, जहां सिर्फ वो बेसिक कुकिंग करते हैं, दैट इज वन एस्पेक्ट, जहां वो अपनी बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग करते हैं, दैट इज वन एस्पेक्ट, बट बिल्डिंग अपॉन इवन देयर क्रिएटिविटी। यहाँ पर हम कहते हैं कि फाइंड अ रोल मॉडल और अ मेंटोर। लाइफ में और एक रोल मॉडल होना और एक मेंटोर का होना जो कि आपको सही और गलत का ज्ञान दे सके, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। मैं समझ सकती हूँ एज अ टीचर कि कई बार हमारे पास टाइम नहीं होता या वी आर इनटू अदर थिंग्स, बट डियर फ्रेंड्स बिलीव मी, व्हेन यू एंटर इनटू योर क्लासरूम, यू आर द क्वीन ऑफ योर क्लासरूम। और सबसे पहले वी बिफोर इवन स्टार्टिंग आर नॉर्मल क्लासरूम टीचिंग, it's very essential to know about their whereabouts. क्योंकि जहां उस लेवल को हम अचीव कर लेते हैं, कंटेंट लर्निंग कम्स बाय डिफॉल्ट। वहां बच्चे अपने आप ही बात को समझकर अपने सब्जेक्ट की तरफ सिंसेरिटी, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेकर एक प्रॉपर टाइम टेबल बनाकर दे स्टार्ट स्टडिंग, एंड विच एक्चुअली हेल्प्स देम इन ओवरऑल अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ देमसेल्व्स। यहाँ हम बात करते हैं पीयर बडिंग, बिकॉज पीयर बडिंग हमने देखा है कि क्लास में लाइक देयर आर डिफरेंट सेट्स ऑफ चिल्ड्रन, जहाँ पर बहुत अबव एवरेज भी हैं, एवरेज भी हैं, और जो बच्चे बहुत उस पेस से नहीं चल पाते, वो वाले बच्चे भी हैं। तो यहाँ पर एक रोल ऑफ पीयर बडिंग बिकम्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, पीयर मेंटरिंग बिकम्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। उन बच्चों को ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट दिया जाए जहाँ वो अपने क्लास में अपने पूरे सब फ्रेंड्स के साथ उसको शेयर करें। हम जब इन एक्टिविटीज की बात करते हैं तो हमें लगता है कि is it really going to make lots of impact on them? But the fact is this, yes, because they understand their peer group language better than what they understand our language. सो इसी तरह से जब हम पॉजिटिव मी की बात करते हैं तो हम अंडरस्टैंड करते हैं कि हमें उन्हें ये डिफरेंट डिफरेंट एक्टिविटीज देकर हमें उन्हें पॉजिटिव मी के बारे में बताना चाहिए। फिर हम बात करते हैं आइडेंटिटी। जब आइडेंटिटी की हमने बात की तो हमने कहा कि पर्सनल आइडेंटिटी को भी हमने दो भागों में विभाजित किया, जिसमें हमने कहा कि इट्स अ पर्सनल आइडेंटिटी एंड वी टॉक्ड अबाउट सोशल आइडेंटिटी। नाउ पर्सनल आइडेंटिटी रेफर्स टू दोज एट्रीब्यूट्स ऑफ अ पर्सन that makes her different from others. That who am I? I'm tall, or I am very good at dance, or I'm very good at music, I'm very good at singing. I can cook very good things. I can do plating very well. I can make nice rangolis. And social identity. It refers to those aspects of the person that link her to a group, professional, social, or cultural. क्लास में जब भी हमारे कुछ हमारे डेज टू सेलिब्रेट होते हैं या वी हैव टू डू, सो वी ऑलवेज कॉल अ पर्टिकुलर ग्रुप ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स because we know that they will be very good at coordinating. Then we have another group of students because the ones who can actually do the work, they are the doers. So personal identity or social identity बच्चों को एक शुरू से ही समझाना, because that will give them a clear reflection of what is right and what is wrong. So moving on to my next slide, here we are talking about personal identity. When I'm talking about apart from physical features, what are my goals, dreams, talents, interests? Then what I want to be in career. हम जब भी अपनी क्लासेस शुरू करते हैं, everything, dear friends, believe me, every chapter which we have, you can correlate with the self understanding. जहां आप उनको उनकी हैबिट्स के बारे में, वैल्यूज, पर्सनालिटी, करियर, फिजिकल फीचर्स, बिकॉज ऑब्जेक्टिव इज नॉट ओनली टू टीच देम स्टार्स। एक मैम ने बहुत अच्छे से लिखा कि मैम रियल लाइफ एजुकेशन दे, मैं उनको अपनी डे टू डे लाइफ एक्सपीरियंसेस से उनको समझाती हूँ। So this is how the building up of values, habits, then other things take place, and depending upon the principles and other features. Now let's have a social identity theory. We understand that perception of self and others based on the social group that one belongs to. उसके आगे हम बात करते हैं सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट की। जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट की बारे में जब हम बात करते हैं तो हम अपनी क्वालिटीज, फीलिंग्स और थॉट्स, डियर फ्रेंड्स, यहाँ पर इट्स वेरी एसेंशियल that we shall stick on to these terminologies, these terms, that where we are talking about qualities, feelings. Let every child be, feel important. So next we are talking about self concept की जब हम बात करते हैं, abilities, values, belief system क्या है, हमारे goals क्या है। अब goals, हम long term goals की बात नहीं कर सकते, उन्हें हम कहते हैं कि 1 year, okay, 6 months, how do you perceive yourself, how can you make an improvement in yourself. So with those short term goals, dear friends, so I'm sure you must be making a note of all these things. Now comes a very important point, self esteem. कई बार हम देखते हैं कि बच्चों में सब कुछ है, उनके अंदर वो प्रतिभा है, उनके अंदर वो पोटेंशियल है, बट वो द वे दे लुक, look about themselves, it's not very high. वहां उनकी सेल्फ एस्टीम बहुत लो है, और द मोमेंट द person gets into lower self esteem, he or she invites depression, all the negative indicators. So हम यहाँ पर बात करते हैं, an important aspect of self concept is self esteem. We understand how much you value yourself, how much you love yourself, and then according to the standards which we have set for ourselves, how we compare ourselves to others and how others respond to us. Now, when people respond positively to our behavior, we are more likely to develop positive self-esteem. पीछे वाली स्लाइड्स में मैंने आपको उन्हीं के बारे में बताया कि हम कैसे किस किस वे से हम उनके अंदर एक पॉजिटिव सेल्फ एस्टीम की डेवलप कर सकते हैं. So here I've shown an image which is self-reflective. So now we come to the point, self during infancy. I'm just quickly touching upon these aspects because we understand at this stage the child is very, naive, and he has no understanding of self-awareness, self-recognition, because he's, immediately involved into the immediate gains. Then comes self during early childhood, like about a physical description, things they can do, overestimate themselves. At times they would say, okay, yes, I know everything, I can do this. मुझे ये भी आता है, मुझे वो भी करना आता है. So unable to recognize different attributes. यहाँ पर एक इम्पॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट आ जाती है कि वो सारे चीजों को इकट्ठे जोड़ नहीं पाते, उनकी सारी डिफरेंट डिफरेंट एक्टिविटीज, डिफरेंट एट्रीब्यूट्स को, डिफरेंट कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स को जब वो अपनी टीचर को देखते हैं तो टीचर को वो सोचते हैं कि ओके, मतलब सिर्फ वो हमें एक प्यार करने के लिए, शी इज जस्ट एन अफेक्शनेट बीइंग एंड द वन हु इज टेकिंग केयर ऑफ अस, बट द मोमेंट शी गेट्स लिटिल इनटू फर्म बिहेवियर, they cannot accept that. So ये हमारी डिफरेंट कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं when we talk about early childhood, middle childhood. यहाँ पर the moment children come to their middle childhood, they start making social comparisons. They're emphasizing on competencies. Competency और जब हम skills की बात करते हैं, we understand skills क्या है. When the child becomes something, becomes good at something. और जब हम competency की बात करते हैं, हम कहते हैं कि उसने he has learned that skill successfully, which he can take up as his career. So cognitive development. Now here we are talking about cognitive development, which affects the structure of the self concept. Perspective. It's very important to develop a very right, analytical, and correct perspectives when we are talking about it. So social and cultural, of course, we understand that whenever we are talking about understanding of the self, it is in context with different socio-cultural and behavioral context. I'm sure, dear friends, I'm very clear to you all whatever we are talking. So let's have a very quick peep into extant stages of psychosocial development. Here we are talking about trust versus mistrust. If its needs are met, and it's not only the physical needs, if its psychological needs are met, the child tends to be, developing a sense of trust. He can have a better, positive self-esteem. He can trust on others. He can trust on himself or herself. Now, autonomy versus shame. They want to let them do, because now we are talking about experiential learning by doing. So basic उसमें यही है कि आप बच्चे को कितना उसको allow करते हैं to do the work by himself or herself. Just not spoon feeding. Let them be developed into good thinkers. And then initiative versus guilt, when we are talking. So, they learn to give them the task, let them take the initiative to take out, the plans, to make out the plans, whatever project you are giving. So industry versus inferiority, because when we are saying that children learn the pleasure of applying themselves to tasks, task-oriented approach. So they definitely believe in hard work and all that. Otherwise, they start feeling inferior. And the objective is to promote horizontal growth in the class. It's not just a handful of children where we have to work upon. So then similarly, where we talk about identity versus, their confusions, and when the child is getting into the adolescence age, am I a child or an adult? All these questions come to the child's mind. So intimacy versus, isolation. How to observe, how to see the close relations, and so that they are not abused or misused by others. So at the same time, I would just quickly take up the next slide. So here the pointers to gear up self-understanding for students. Knowledge, which is based upon facts, information, and skills. Interdisciplinary approach. Combination of two or more, art academic subjects into an activity. When we are talking about rangolis and all that, so, they can be taught about the various mathematical concepts. So, real life education, pool of knowledge which is outside the traditional classrooms. Now, overall well being, when we talk about experiencing of health, happiness, satisfaction, and a purpose. If you have not defined that purpose to a child, the understanding of the self will never be up to that level as it should have been. So, belief, being accepted, and once we understand that the child has to make a strong belief system, choices between good and bad. Now, self understanding modules, as I've already spoken to you all, it talks about skills, competencies to do the successfully, the cognitive impact on it. How far the child is able to getting into the critical thinking, problem solving behavior. Metacognitive, thinking about thinking, metacognitive, evaluating what? Oneself. Maybe the child is not able to score well, or maybe the child is not able to do the project well. Just ask the child to write down in a diary or journal. And similarly, working on the social and the emotional and cultural aspects. Now, here I've come to the next level where we are talking about transformative modules, dear friends. Now, the present time is the pandemic time. We don't know what our children are going under through. What we see that, okay, on the surface level, some of them are submitting the work and we are interacting with them through the social media and so on. So normal, it was the normal. What was the normal? Then we knew normal. We all have embraced the new normal. And what is the hybrid normal? We don't know the post-pandemic, how this volcano would burst out when we'll interact with our children, when we'll interact with our students. So meeting challenges, of post-pandemic in shaping a better me. Then post-traumatic stress disorders, developing resilience. Now, when I talk about resilience, that means capacity to develop quickly from difficulties. We all have developed that resilient behavior. Or, I mean, all the teachers, Corona warriors, quickly embracing the new norm, technology, and same holds true for our students as well. So, owning responsibility, as I told you, is very important. Reconcile past, making peace with the past and present, and assuming purposeful and efficient self. Now, strategies for self understanding, imbibing the principles of Ubuntu. I'm sure many of you must be knowing, can I have it in the chat box, that what is the principle of Ubuntu? Which talks that it's not I, it's basically we. I am because we all are. Different motivational speakers are talking about illness to wellness. The moment you remove I and come into we. So group learning, hence the group projects are very important for the self-understanding. And then creativity modules, building self-reliance, self-esteem. I've told you, I've given you certain points how we can cultivate the self-aware. Now, when we are talking about self-awareness, dear friends, here we have to give them, skills, give them tasks to improve their skills, to empower themselves, just to raise the happiness by aligning ourselves with our actions. We've been doing a lot of work when it comes to happiness curriculum and all that. What is happiness quotient? What is happiness curriculum? Because all these strategies are working towards a better understanding of a self only. So when we talk about cultivating the important aspects, we understand overall well being, self care, hugging family, complimenting. Please ask them to make the small gratitude box where they can talk about their blessings, where they can talk about their, being thankfulness, giving thanksgiving. They're thankful to their parents, whatever they are giving. They're thankful to God. They're thankful to the Corona warriors, paramedical staff, medical staff. So now we come to the next point, because basically here I was talking about 3H theory, with the head, heart, and hand. And of course, how can you actually, hack the happy hormones for the better understanding of the self? So self-care activities are very important. Celebrating small wins and victories are very important. And making a note, documenting it. That on this date, I have achieved this. It will surely boost the child's self-esteem. And as I say, I smile, you smile, and we all smile, because it's all contagious, the positive thing. So activities quotient. We've been studying about talking about emotional EQs, IQs, SQs. So here is an activity question. So, happiness quotient, we're talking about forgiveness, empathy, caring, respect. Excellent. And why not build up a very strong, positive circle? So, dear friends, basically with the self esteem inventory, self concept checklist, who am I? And it is to be nurtured, it is to be revised, it is to be followed up day to day. Now next we come to managing emotions, because once a child understands how to balance emotions, how to balance his responses, definitely it will help him in developing a better human being, in developing a better self. So through the case studies and reflective sheets we can do. Now here is a I have just correlated with the NEP vision, self understanding and self reliance, where we are talking about, if you look at NEP vision, it is talking about early childhood care and education, it's talking about foundational literacy and numeracy, is talking about how to curtail dropouts. Because the moment the child is able to engineer the self goals, the self concept, self understanding, self skills, the I think these dropout rate would automatically would be curtailed. So learning should be holistic, integrated, and enjoyable, where it's not just simply one way communication. Let them give them float a number of activities to them. Let them do. Let them have that joy of achievement, joy of doing. So empowering students through art integration and of course sports integration we talked about, and curricular integration, domestic science, home science, skills and capacities, knowledge of India to modern India, helping them to make ethical decisions. This is very important, because law abiding, we have to develop law abiding students. So giving them the logical frameworks, and then how supplementary enrichment material, making, giving them chess circle, math circle, making small circles according to their subjects. And last but not the least, equity and inclusion. So, well, this is my session on developing self. And dear friends, may I always contact my students with positive attitude, motivate them by giving example. Thank you very much, ma'am, from Monica, ma'am. It's there. And now I'm just showing a small, quiz to you all based upon it. And I would request Sushma ma'am, so please, Saroj ma'am, kindly share this link which I've given it to you, so that they can all make use of it. I'm just sharing the link.
Okay.
Yeah, just share with them, and we can have a quick quiz. I request all dear educators that please, make use of these links, etc. So I have shared the link. Kindly share that link in the chat box.
Okay.
Yeah. So Rosh ma'am, have you shared the link? Have all the everyone has got the link, or should I share that link in the chat box?
Uh,
Yeah.
Sushma ma'am,
Yeah, I'm
Bha-
just sharing the link in the chat box. Yeah.
Bharti, you only share. I didn't get the
Okay.
link.
Okay. I'm just sharing the link. Yes. I
Okay.
hope I've shared the link. Dear educators, just click on this link, and we are starting a small quiz on, on itself. It's a small quiz. I hope you would enjoy, but I'm not going to disclose the scores and all that. It's just for the fun sake, because every activity should be enjoyable. So here we start. I'm you in the chat box. Okay. So, well, here we start with a quiz, understanding self, and so overall, well-being and what makes us different from once correct answer and I can share the leaderboard also. And so please click on what
हेलो भारती, आपकी वॉइस नहीं आ रही ठीक से। वॉइस नहीं आ रही है।
Ma'am, let us do one thing. We'll read ourselves because your voice is too going too fast. We'll read ourselves, ma'am.
Bharti ma'am, Bharti ma'am, ma'am, your voice is not clear, ma'am. It's moving out very fast.
okay, so
Ma'am, just mute. Ma'am, again, you can just mute yourself and then you can unmute yourself and then check it out.
now am I clear? Am I clear? I have
Yes,
done that.
ma'am. Now,
Is it
yeah,
time period
yeah, yeah,
from yeah
yeah. You can write.
again
Thank you,
technological
ma'am.
glitches. Yeah. It's a time period from birth until the age of 6 years, infancy, early childhood, middle childhood, or none of the above. So we move on to our
Bharti ma'am, voice is again not coming properly. Voice is not. आप आपकी वॉइस क्लियर
that
नहीं आ रही है मैम।
okay. Now is it clear? Now is it clear?
Yeah, it's better now.
Yeah. And tonight. Must have enjoyed this activity. Any questions related to this session? Because I have to move on to my next session of childhood behavioral disorders. Yes. Yes, dear friends, any question related to this? Uma ma'am, am I audible? So I will be sharing this quiz
Yes.
link also, which you can take up. dear friends.
Yes, ma'am, you
And
are audible and now it's clear, ma'am. Actually, I
okay,
think you were going on live, this thing, no?
yeah,
Question
yes,
sessions. So
yes,
because of
yes,
that, there was some technical problem, I guess.
yes.
Now it's fine,
I
ma'am. You can
yeah,
continue, ma'am. You can
yeah,
start with your next topic
yeah. Thank
and
you
till
very much.
5. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, thank you very much, Uma ma'am. And
yeah.
in the end, I just want to sum up with these lines that self-understanding is a lifetime endeavor. It is not a weekend seminar. It does not come in any capsule form. So, dear friends, keep working, because we are on a train which has got no stoppage. But yes, destination is definitely there, where we want to see our children, children of 21st century, students of 21st century, skill-based learners, having competencies, having, good knowledge, communication abilities, and then good thinking. Thank you, you all. With this, I finish with my first session. Uma ma'am, with your permission, may I start my next session?
Yes, ma'am, you can
Will
definitely
you
start,
be
ma'am.
giving?
It's all
Yeah,
with you.
sure. Thank,
Yeah,
yeah, thank you very much. So
yeah.
I think the question answers we can take up in the end, dear friends. I hope you must have enjoyed the session. And again, as I say, that PPR, pen paper readiness should be there whenever we go for all these training modules, teaching programs, because they act as a very good, revising pointers when we interact with our students in the classroom. So today, my next session, I'm going to take up on common behavior disorders among children. Dear friends, here we are talking about classification of behavior disorders, but at the same time, I would be taking this uh, topic and this theme to the next level, where we are talking about common behavioral problems during offline classes, during online classes, during pandemic and post-pandemic, and how, with the help of various techniques and therapies, that we are able to overcome. Now, when my dear friends, along with you, I will be sailing, I will be going on this journey along with you all. I would request you all that whenever, whatever the pointers I'm giving, please recall, connect your this learning with your your classroom behavior of your children, because we all face children who are little naughty, who are showing some behavioral disorders, who are having, giving us very challenging times as well. So, well, here we go. The learning objectives to understand the term behavior disorders. What are the various behavior disorders, and what are the causes of these behavior disorders? Then we understand the classification. We, familiarize with the classification of behavioral disorders, common behavioral problems in classroom. What are the common behavioral problems which normally a teachers, we all face in the classrooms? And what are the silent behavioral problems during COVID-19 pandemic and post-pandemic? Now, next, the flow of the program will go that we'll be talking about management, behavioral management techniques, where you can share your experiences with the old normal, new normal, and of course, post new normal. Because one thing come, we have learned. We have learned to learn, we have learned to unlearn, and we have learned to relearn also. Because whatever we used to do, we have simply unlearned. We went on to the new learning. Now, brainstorming, devising ways to connect, communicate, and comprehend to children's confusions and conflicts. Most of the behavioral problems have got the root cause, when we talk about factors and all that. They arise because of lot of confusion, to be or not to be, what is right, what is wrong. So, well, I'm sure they will have an interactive session, but the first slide of mine here, we are talking about, and I'm sure, as I said, that together we'll be on this journey, and we all are together. And I'm just reading out these few lines with you. A torn jacket is soon mended. but hard words bruise the personality of a child. So when uh, the next slide, it says that children speak the language of the flowers and understand the whispers of the wind. They are in tune with the subtle songs of the forest. They can listen to the trees, interpret the chatter of the rivers, and intuit the meaning of each sparkle of sun. They don't have to be told to look for magic in life. They can see it, feel it, and taste its sweetness everywhere. Our job is not to correct that, but to nurture it, to preserve it, and perhaps even to relearn it. So these lines, I think, are very self-reflectory when we were talking about behavioral disorders. So with a fresh perspective, let's look into this session. And when we talk about behavioral disorders, we understand that they are a pattern, they occur again and again of disruptive behaviors in children and cause problems in school, at home, and in social situations. Causes of emotional or behavioral disorders are emotional disturbances, which could be due to any reason. One parent family, abusive family, a lot of conflict, maybe the financial burdening, and so on. Then parental rejection, where they are not being accepted by the parents. Arrival of the newborn, if they are into that age group, maybe the arrival of the newborn definitely gives birth to the various disorders. Fears, fear of unknown. In this pandemic, we all are having so many fears, and think about children, dear friends. And then anxiety, worries, that what is my, what would happen to my life, what is the ultimate. We feel that okay, children, no, they are very cool about it, they may not think, but they are silent observers, they are observing in each and everything. Then child abuse or child neglect, they could be a victim of any child abuse or child neglect. Then chronic illnesses or injury, if the child is continuously suffering, because I know many children who, because of their physical illnesses, they have started showing the behavioral problems. Then strain in parental relation, domestic violence, and death of a parent. So there can be number of other factors which I've not taken into an account, because if we really write, there are many. Now, when we talk about classification of behavior disorders, dear friends, we understand habit disorder. We have ADHD cases you have already done in your previous session, anxiety disorder, sleep disorders, odd, oppositional defined disorder, and so on. So habit disorder, when I talk about habit disorder, it becomes a habit, when we talk about thumb sucking, nail biting, ticks, is eating everything which is non-nutritive, you know and then pika, head banging, hair pulling, breath holding, stuttering, body rocking. Anything which is not clear here, please just let me know. You can put it in the chat box, and I can shed light on that. So these are, habit disorders. Now we move on to our next classification, which is based upon sleep. The sleep disorders, insomnia, that's lack of sleep, hypersomnia, excessive sleep, because the child doesn't want to face the reality, so he gets into the sleeping mode, that okay, I'm away from the reality. Either he would get into some kind of most of the time, into sleep. So we shall not confuse it with the present pandemic condition of COVID-19, where many of our children are having disturbed sleep patterns because of the change in their day-to-day timetable. Now parasomnia, that means disturbed sleep. I have already spoken to you all about, dear friends, the causes. Now, when we talk about oppositional defined disorder, because according to DSM-5, under disruptive impulsive control and conduct disorder, they show pattern of angry, irritable mood, stubborn. I think the picture is itself is very clear to us. Hostile, where they are not listening to you, they tend to harm a other person, disobedient, and defined. Then comes what are the, I'm coming to the next slide where we are talking about behavioral problems at school. When we were before COVID, offline classes, suddenly this new term, offline, online, you know, and then understand how behavioral problems interfere with classroom teaching and disturb the class, posing challenges to the subject teachers and school just because of the behavioral disorders, behavioral problems. The child loses on into all other aspects of his growth and development, and the effect, the overall well-being of a teacher. See, the behavioral disorders challenges is not, I have not only taken into an account of only students. I'm talking about that it because teachers are also emotional well-being. We all are, and how it affects if the child is into some behavioral disorders, or if the child is continuously posing the threat issues or behavioral challenges to the classroom or society. Now, common behavioral problems during offline aggression, physical aggression, fights, quarrels are very common. You must have seen in your day-to-day classroom teaching also, and you must have found that also. Now, how to resolve? And then when children are using unparliamentary or filthy language, bullying others. Now, bullying others is not just the physical bullying or verbal bullying. It is now, it has taken another direction of cyberbullying. Stalking others or writing, bad comments in the chat or other way around, disturbing the classroom processes, whatever the teacher wants to teach, and there's a continuously, they will always keep making noise, or maybe, will leave the seat and will not let you teach. So non-compliance of classroom work, that whatever work is being given, whatever the classroom behavior is expected, the teaching methodologies, the transactional methodologies of the teacher, if they are not being taken by them, then not able to submit the homework, definitely, because it will have the emotional, the behavioral side of a child will have an impact on its day-to-day learning, on its day-to-day working. Now, the child may get irritable, inattentive, may not listen to you, and will feel lack of interest, would just look at the blackboard or look at with a very blank look. Then small threats, maybe, in the classroom also, it at times these challenges we face, and not being proactive to the classroom processes. Now, let's come to the next point where we are talking about that what are the silent behavioral problems during COVID-19 or pandemic online classes. As I've already discussed with you, dear friends, that pandemic is a time, if it's a crucial a time of confusion for all, I mean, believe me, it's more for the children. We are not realizing the gravity, but it's affecting them. It's showing in them. And as I already conveyed it to you, the objective is to have the horizontal growth, not the vertical growth of few children. So we are talking about anxiety, sleeping disorders. We are talking about manifestation of changed eating habits. We being the domestic science teachers, we can very well see. Then lifestyle related stress that suddenly, because they are not, because it's the children whose freedom is curtailed during this COVID-19 times. They're not able to meet their friends, they're not able to speak to them, they're not able to share. Severe mood swings, especially middle childhood and adolescence, the ones who are at the threshold of adolescence. Cyber crimes, somatic disorders, because whatever they are thinking, if they're not, dear friends, if psychologically it's comfort is not there, there is no sharing, or there is no, somebody to listen to them. As one of my very dear educator had said that I always make it a point to listen to my students. Now, fear of unknown, that we don't know, because every now and then there is a big question mark when the schools will reopen. It's a big question mark. So, defined behavior. In the beginning, they may give everything to us, but then suddenly they start showing, and we also feel that what's wrong with this child? The child was giving or his or her homework so much, and suddenly the child has taken a back seat. Irregularity in terms of attending your classes or giving the work, insecurity, because all these things have led a lot of impact on a child's mind. Economic stresses, none of us can uh, you know uh, underestimate this pointer, that it has really posed a great threat to the children's world. And then I'm moving to the next slide, list of the various behavioral management techniques. Dear educator, dear friends, always remember that problems will be there. Every time we'll face problems, will come to us in some form or the other. But what's more important, that how to be a part of that solution. How can I make a mark in child's life? And for that, I need to develop a planned strategy. I need to have a planned map for my child, for my students of a particular section of particular class. Now, here when we are talking, over the years, our society has taught us, when somebody asks, how are you feeling? We are good, ma'am, we are okay. The children are not opening up because somewhere they have been taught that, okay, the moment you say you want, I'm not feeling good, or I have this problem, I'm facing this abuse at home. So, the child will be put into the pool of shame and guilt. So, friends, today we would be the part of the solution makers. And from our side, as a teacher, as a person, and this I can talk with the 1001% guarantee that we all are passionate teachers by heart. Come what may, our ways can be different, but we believe in the overall well-being of a child, right? So when I say behavioral techniques, so we understand it's okay not to be okay. It's okay, fine. If something is wrong, it's not that skies have fallen or the child has to be looked with some kind of isolation. Then sharing and listening, talking to students before starting the lessons, as when I was talking to you even about self-understanding also. Inquire their well-being and families. It's not only their well-being. Giving 5-10 minutes, if it's 35 minutes period or 30 minutes period, at least 5 minutes devoting time. And you can break the ice maybe by sharing your experience that I wasn't well, or maybe I had this problem. They will open up. Then, individual education program for children with special needs, I will not touch upon. You have done in your previous session this one, and showing them big learning curve. When I talk about learning curve, that how the learning curve takes place. It's only that they have to be on the roads. They have to just start with it. Because if they're not involved, if they are not doing, learning by doing, they are not developing certain skills. That means they're not on following that learning curve. So go with the pace of students. Here I would again request that every child has got its own pace. We also, as a teacher, we are in a hurry to kind of complete on with the task, our own learning goals for each and every child. But at the same time, as we say that we all are unique, we all are different. The children who are coming to us, they are with different, setbacks, problems, challenges. Now, motivation, genuine care, and fostering a sense of togetherness. Our children are the best observers. They look up to us, they can make out. And when we genuinely, which comes by default, as a teacher, which I'm able to deliberate upon, which I'm able to give it to my children, they understand. Why does it happen that children, normally I've seen in many schools, they go always to their, domestic science teachers, or the teacher who's very motherly, who understands, who listens to them. It's just one word can actually can make or mar the bruise, or bring a wonderful change in the personality of a child. So यहाँ पर making them aware of the present crucial times, making them understand that they are not alone. Everyone is facing these crucial times. Then tender touch by word of mouth or gesture on their special days. Any child, we are checking online, we are checking the homeworks. Just with one star, they feel, oh my God, that ma'am, our teachers are also able to do this technology. They are technology savvy, they've become techno savvy and technology driven teachers. So all these gestures make a lot of difference. Then reassuring them, it shall too pass. Yes, we don't know what's a reality check. Some of them, what they are facing, this COVID-19, what it has shown to them. Just giving them that sincere, security, and strengthening their security. So these were a few techniques: rewarding by stars, urging them to limit screen time. That's very essential, because the excessive screen time definitely leads to more anxiety and behavioral disorders among them, involving them in creative breakdown to face the COVID-19 challenges. Now, when we say creative, that means giving them some artwork, asking them to pose on certain things. Now, here, as I said, that let's be a part of a solution maker working on overall well being. We are talking about 5 golden rules. I hope you all will remember. Enhancing the well being, be active, learn new skills, connect, talk and share, and eat healthy. So here, I understand there's some, restraint of time. So I'm just quickly taking it up, but I'm sure, dear friends, that you will be taking all these 5 points to your classrooms, where we are asking them to be physically active, learning new skills, even online. They can learn connecting for the right cause with a purpose. Talking and sharing, and eating healthy food. So be kind to yourself. Here I've given that some children, because as I said, when they have low self-esteem, body shame, and all, so we are talking to them that accept yourself, embrace yourself, that you are different. So as I told you, because over the years I've seen that there are children who are with some chronic illnesses or with some problems. They had started showing irritable aggression, negativity into them. So giving them these boosts will actually help them up. Be yourself, accept yourself with your SWOT analysis, with your strength, weaknesses, then with your, by providing opportunities, by writing down their threats. Bless yourself, express yourself, and trust yourself, and love yourself. This is very important. Then I must share with you all, I'm sure many of you must be knowing Manodarpan, which is psychosocial support for mental health and well-being. It's there. This slide has got the number as well. So I would request you all to share the site. So in case if the children are not able to reach out to us or to anyone else, at least they would be taking the help of Manodarpan, and keeping safe and healthy overall, when it comes to their physical, psychological, social, or mental well-being. So uh, here are a few points, dear friends, where we are talking about to show gratitude. Because in the beginning, I said that we shall ask the students to count on to the positives rather than negatives, that what we have, how many of us actually we show that light to our children. They already have magic in their lives. It's just that we have to make them realize that they have that magic, because the way they're so young, the way they look up to life with so many dreams, goals, irrespective of whatever their challenges are, they're ready to overcome. So these are here, and give them, I look up to you, maybe to a teacher, I look up to my mom, because ask them to give these lines. We can make small assignments and can share with them, and we must share with them. Then here I've given it quickly. Health benefits of gratitude. Of course, apart from improving sleep quality, decreasing blood pressure, reducing stress, it really helps. And how to show gratitude: give out genuine compliments, make a list of things you are grateful for, volunteer in your community. I have seen in my school, my children, they were, before or during the unlockdown with all the making masks and, just giving it in the community without any cost. So do small random acts of kindness. And of course, this is very important nowadays. Digitally detoxing, because digital detox means, as I said, that limiting screen time and believe in children. Let them believe in their own potential. They are being loved. That security, that trust is very important. And instead of asking why, convey the way that how we can. Instead of asking that why you couldn't do, so we can always tell them that okay, this is a way, this is how we can do about it. So show care and open up new vistas for them. Give them something new, some new challenge, creative challenge for a day for the class. Okay, today we have done this. So the creative challenge today is that making a nice poster or making a nice comic strip, which they would very happily do. Now ask them to learn positives, unlearn negatives, and relearn the possibilities. That's very important. Because if there is no hope, there is no possibility. I think we would not have been here even connecting with each other during this pandemic times. So CBT, as you all are aware, that cognitive behavior therapy, where we are giving certain goals to them, and we are asking them, and we are rewarding them based upon them. Anger management, non-indulgence in negative tactics, self-behavioral training, and as and when if it's required, family counseling also, and reinforcement of positive behavior. As I said, complementing positive behavior has to be reinforced. The other things would follow by and by default, they will come to them. But it's very important. And steps for corrective measures when we talk about it. So, technology as a tool to connect, social media is an educational tool. This is very important for us to convey to them. And then addressing various academic and behavioral goals, COVID-19 appropriate behavioral responses, where we are talking about SMS, that wear masks, sanitizing, social distancing. They would do, but for us, we as a teacher, we are, in a habit of reminding things, revising things again and again. So please do so. And then virtual collaboration to comprehend the emotional needs, connecting, maybe one meeting on Zoom or on any interface or maybe video conferencing with our students can actually will help, and connecting with students and their families. So the first duty to children is to make them happy. If we haven't made them, I think we have wronged something to them, and no other good they may get can actually make up for that. So the children, you teach may not remember you when they get older, but they will always have a part of you inside of them, the part that gave them hope and love and taught them to believe in themselves. So this we all are aware that children, when they children learn with what they live. So my slide shows very clearly that nagging, ridiculing them, giving or making them, feel shameful. Definitely, all these negative things would add to their behavioral problems, behavioral challenges. They'll be more guilty of their behavior, and in that, they may take certain steps which are not accepted by the families, societies, and so on. But on the other hand, if the acceptance is given, if the approval is given, if sharing is there, honesty is there, truthfulness is there, so fairness is there, they learn justice. And at the end of the this session, dear friends, I feel that this is the ultimate goal of our, teaching to our children and so on. So with this, I think Uma ma'am, I just finished because it's absolutely 5. I've finished, and let's have some interaction session. I would request if some teachers want to share their experiences. Hope you have enjoyed.
Yes, ma'am, you
Uh,
can have an interaction session of
yeah.
5 minutes more. No problem, ma'am.
Yes. Yes. So I would request, please, dear educators, kindly unmute yourself, or Saroj ma'am is my buddy. She can give us the questions, or maybe you can share certain things from your own classroom, uh, teaching, and where we can be all benefited. Over to my dear educators. Yes, Saroj ma'am, are you there?
Yes, yes. There is no
Yes, yes.
nothing written on chat box, ma'am. I'm
Okay, okay. Any let me kind of have a view of the participants.
actually they are
Yes.
engrossed in your lesson. No time to write.
So no, no, that's very sweet of you, Saroj ma'am. But I would request the participants, my dear friends, to please, Mridula ma'am. There is Minakshi ma'am, Minakshi, Mona ma'am is there. Monia Malik ma'am is there. Monica Baisora is there. I can see she's very active. I saw her, writing her remarks.
Ma'am, I think Mridula ma'am has raised her hand also. So
Yeah,
if she wants to
yeah,
ask any question,
yeah, yes,
she can.
yes.
Mridula
No, no,
ma'am
no.
has raised her hand.
Now I have spoken for almost 2 hours, and
Yeah.
I want them to please come up. Yes, Mridula ma'am. You want to, Shreya, you want to say something? Please, unmute yourself, and we can have this interactive session. Namita Kalra ma'am, Neha Bansal ma'am is there, Neha Gola. Okay, now one question to you. Uh, how do you take up this, today's session to your classrooms? How are you planning to take up? Any one of you can express your views on it. I'm sure you are exhausted also, but आप अपने विचार पूरी तरह से रख सकते हैं अपने कि आप कि आज के लेसन्स, आज की जो हमारी ये जो सेशंस रहे, उससे हम आगे उसको आगे कैसे लेकर जा सकते हैं अपने क्लासरूम्स में. Yes, Nikita ma'am.
I wanted to say something, ma'am. Monica here.
Yeah.
First, all of us, we should talk to our children
Yes.
and in a
Okay.
very frank way. And
Yes.
SWOT analysis is the first thing I'll do with my kids.
Oh, thank you so much, Monica ma'am. I'm so happy. And believe me, Monica ma'am, it's not that I'm doing it with my class 6, 7 children. And you see the kind of responses they are giving. Though at times, I burst out into laughter. लेकिन that analysis, और जब हम उनको कहते हैं ना कि मतलब what makes you fearful, आपको किन चीज़ों से डर लगता है? The way they write, and then we understand that we are so far from our children. Yeah. So I'm very happy to know that SWOT analysis you'll be doing with your children. And Monica ma'am?
And ma'am, you said one thing कि
Yeah.
आपकी जो टीचिंग है वो एक बार को वो लोग याद नहीं रखेंगे, पर आप कैसे हैं क्लास में और आपने उनसे क्या क्या शेयर किया है, उनके बिहेवियर में क्या चेंज किया है, वो
Yeah.
हमेशा याद रखेंगे. तो ये बात मुझे आपकी बहुत अच्छी लगी मैम.
Yeah. Thank you.
फर्दर हम खुद को भी इम्प्रूव करेंगे इन चीज़ों
Uh,
से.
nay, Monica ma'am, because you all are already so learned teachers, and you're teachers of 21st century. Always believe in yourself and believe in positivity. Dear friends, I'm not just saying for the sake of it. I may be facing, we all are facing a number of challenges, but what we can give to each other is just the positivity I smile, you smile, and we smile. I hope you would remember, you all would remember this as well. It's all contagious. Yeah,
Ma'am,
in
I'm
the
not sure.
process, we have to work out a lot, but that's okay. When we see the end result, when we see that smile, and when we see the child raising his benchmark, his or her benchmark, कहाँ बच्चे की पहले क्या स्टेज थी, और अगर वो आपकी क्लास में आके खुश होकर पढ़ाई करता है और आपकी बात ध्यान से सुनता है, आई थिंक इट्स, I mean, no other laurels can give me that much satisfaction as this, the smile or the work of a child.
Ma'am, I have
Yes,
something to share.
yes,
Ma'am,
sure, sure.
I used to
Could
teach
you please
last
be a
12
little
years.
louder? Yeah,
I used
Priyanka.
to have.
Yeah,
Am I audible?
yeah, sure, Priyanka, ma'am.
Ma'am, there is this activity that I used to be do in my classes.
Mm-hmm.
Every month, I used to make a worry box, and I
Okay,
used to ask my students to write down their worries, what is their main concern or they are worry about, and they
right.
have to write on the piece of paper without their name. I did not
Okay,
want to disclose their name among the class, and
yeah,
I used to put their chits in that worry box every at the end of every month. And I used
yeah,
to read those slips in the class without their name, and I used to ask for their suggestions कि
yeah.
एक दूसरे की वरीज को सुनने के बाद वो उसको कैसे सॉल्व कर सकते हैं.
Very
तो
good,
they
excellent. I mean, applaud to you. I mean,
ma'am,
I have learned this from you. Yeah,
they used to feel like कि उनका burden कम हो गया है.
yeah.
हम
It's a
पूरी तरीके से
shame.
उनके प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन हम कुछ ना कुछ ऐसी चीजें होती हैं जिनके लिए सजेस्ट कर सकते हैं
Yeah.
उनको.
Very
तो
rightly said. Very rightly said, ma'am. And this is the ultimate goal. Because the moment I talk about gratitude box, and today I've learned this from you, as I say, we learn from each other. Worry box. I mean, something, yes, talk about your problems and let's share. So thank you very much, and may I request others also to please come up. I mean, she's given such a wonderful suggestion. Yes, Saroj ma'am, do we have others? Because I have to see in the chat box.
No,
Yeah.
ma'am, there is nothing here.
So yeah, anyone else who want to share his or her experience? Who's there and want to? I understand that's the time for a cup of tea, but then let's make this moment a memorable one.
Ma'am, as a domestic science teacher, I have experienced that students actually love their domestic science teachers. I don't know, मतलब स्पेशल एजुकेटर और ईवीजीसी के पास जाने से पहले बच्चे हम लोगों के पास आना ज़्यादा पसंद करते हैं. So
Yeah,
hats off to our subject that it has
yeah,
given us that opportunity that we can link ourselves with
yeah.
those children and solve
Yeah,
their problems.
excellent, excellent. Because somewhere, dear friends, human ecology, family sciences, home science, or domestic science, it is a basic lifeline of human existence. Why they come to us? Because the trust, the love, affection, genuine understanding, genuine care, which we give, and which only mother can give, I feel, you know. And though they are not our children, biologically produced children, but they are our children. The moment we are able to connect with them emotionally, I think, or heart to heart, they come to us and they talk to us. So a lot of things, because when the moment we talk about life skills, the moment we talk about values, beliefs, choices, goals, dreams, aspirations, everything. So we have to just show. Priyanka Sharma ma'am is saying that every student says, sorry, I could not read the chat completely. So there was something, yes.
Priyanka has written, every student says home science teachers are always available for any personal and professional help.
Yeah. So that's a very good.
Students of class 6 to 8, they have also said this thing so many times. मैम होम साइंस की टीचर्स बहुत सुंदर होते हैं.
Okay. So, but no, I think all human beings and especially teachers, they're so beautiful inside, which reflects out in their outer persona. It is like this. So, dear teachers, with these words, any question, anyone, I would just love to hear, and provided Uma ma'am gives us the time, 5:09 is the
Yeah,
time.
ma'am,
So,
it's already time. We
yeah,
can have,
yeah.
uh,
So,
you can just have a wind up line, ma'am.
okay. So, dear friends, I'm just winding up my these two sessions on a very, very positive and a high note that we live for our children, we live for our students, and somewhere that sunshine and that happiness shall not at any cost go away from their lives. And let's build up Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India with the better techniques where which we can impart to ourselves or our students, our children, for understanding self. So with these two, the rest is all there in front of you. I think Uma ma'am will have all the content and which can share with you all later on. So with these words, I end up my session. Though I wish that this sessions would have gone, for a longer period of time where we used to have more, could have more time to share and understand the things. But as we have to follow certain timings and certain time bound things, so thank you all. Thank you, Priyanka ma'am. Thank you, Monica ma'am. Really, you've made my day. Believe me. Worry box, I would always remember that I've learned a new thing from you all. So, thank you very much. Thank you all.